In your opinion, why do we hear so much about black on black crime? Why is that term thrown out there so much?
I think the term black on black crime is here just to scare society and the public and make them fearful of African Americans or black people.
This needs to stop.
I gotta survive and try to stay alive, ho.
Shots are fired.
I gotta survive and try to stay alive, ho.
Get out and shoot the other men who fire
I
back.
gotta survive and try to stay alive, ho.
This needs to stop.
I gotta survive and try to stay alive.
More
ho.
bullets fly. Look as sparks light up the pavement.
Still dying at the hands of law enforcement in this country.
And so are white people. So are white people. What a terrible question to ask. So are white people. More white people, by the way. More white people.
Well, you know, this is a lot to unpack here, but I guess it will come as a surprise to white people to hear that they are being killed more often, even though this Harvard study seems to have found that blacks are 3 times as likely to be killed by police than whites, and 1 in every black man can expect to die at the hands of police. And 1 in every black man can expect to die at the hands of police. So I'm not sure what he's looking at, but son, you heard him claim that more white people are killed by police violence, which, again, I think is going to come as a shock to white people. I don't think they are aware of this. But you know that, the stats tell a different story. Yes, Sonny?
Yeah, I mean, and as you said, Whoopi, I mean, you know, most people do know the stats.
You are dead wrong.
They know that black people are killed at a much higher rate by police than white people. It's 3 times the rate, actually, and black people only 13% of the population. And so, of course, white people are killed more by police because there are more white people in the population.
Ooh. Do it again.
And so, of course, white people are killed more by police because there are more white people in the population. So it's really about a percentage. It's about the rate of the killing.
Okay, so this is a good point made by Sonny Halston from The View. So it's interesting how when it comes to police killings, people can understand this rate per capita pretty much is measuring the killings by the population. So even though it is true what Donald Trump has said and what many people say, that more white people are killed every year, which is interesting because you don't hear about that. It's by the population rate that you need to look at it, because black people are way less than white people when you consider the population. Yet they are killed at a disproportionate rate by police. But most people don't know that. What they do is just simply go by the media reporting of these police shootings, which disproportionately gets reported more when it's a black victim.
And the other thing that you've heard him say very often is that why don't black people talk about black on black crime? And I hear that so much in conservative circles. And what people need to understand is that, you know, homicides are intra-racial. When you look at white on white crime, it's 84%. Right? Homicides, white people kill white people. But that term, white on white crime, is never used. So why is black on black crime used?
So this is really interesting how Sonny can understand rate by population when it comes to police killings. But when we talk about black on black crime, all of a sudden she wants to use percentages, which is very deceiving because the numbers that she used are correct. 92% of black people are killed by black people, and about 84% of white people are killed by white people. But that doesn't give you any rate at which is happening. You still have to control for the population. Those percentages can be very misleading because 9 out of 10 is 90%, and 90 out of 100 is also 90%. But do those numbers actually compare to each other when you look at the rate? No, it doesn't. And that's why it's deceiving to use percentages, because 90 out of 100 is not happening at the same rate as 9 out of 10. So if 90 out of 100 black people are killing each other, is that the same as 9 out of 10 white people killing each other? No, you can see that 90 out of 100 is happening more often.
So why is black on black crime used? I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts.
And here are the 2019 homicide numbers, which is measured by age, sex, race, and ethnicity. So the total number of homicides is 16,245. Out of those 16,000, about 4,000 of those are unknown. So we know who are the offenders in about 12,000 of those cases. 6,425 of those were committed by black people out of the 12,000. So more than half of the homicides are committed by one race, and this race is only 13% of the population. So this means that homicide is happening at a tremendous rate, because even though black people are only 13% of the population, they still have more homicides by number than the white community. And when you start considering the rate at which it's happening, the numbers are even worse. And just as a side note, another interesting stat is the interracial crimes. Black on white and Hispanic on white happens at a much higher rate than white on black or white on Hispanic.
One thing I always say, Tucker, is that the left can pull a racist narrative from thin air where it doesn't exist, but when it actually is in their face, they try to avoid it at all costs, especially when the perpetrator is a black person against another white person, which obviously happens more often in this country, given the fact that black Americans are the most murderous group in America by rate.
I mean, she just went so far over the top here. I mean, I don't want to bury the lead here. She said, quote, and you saw it with your own eyes, you can rewind it and see it again. Black Americans are the most murderous group in America by race. That's an outrageously absurd thing to say.
Given the fact that black Americans are the most murderous group in America by rate.
She said, quote, and you saw it with your own eyes, you can rewind it and see it again. Black Americans are the most murderous group in America by race.
So this is amazing here, how people go to great lengths to deny reality. The reason why we need to accept this reality is because if we can't identify a problem, then we're never going to be able to fix that problem. And you can clearly see here, Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks completely distort what Candace Owens said, which I don't agree with everything Candace Owens says, but she was completely right here. Black Americans are the most murderous group by rate. The Young Turks twist up her words and say by race, which is not what she said, which would still be true if that was what she said, but she didn't say that. Being a journalist in a so-called news network, you should be able to report the facts as they are instead of distort it to fit, whatever narrative, whatever lie you're trying to push. I want people to see the lengths that lefties and liberals go to in order to deny reality and handle black people with gloves, even though the truth is the truth. This is a problem that we need to address.
For Owens claims that black people are the most murderous group, let me go ahead and give you some insight to that. We deal with facts here. According to the FBI, their expanded homicide data from 2018, the most recent report of this kind, Reuters was able to find 80.7% of the murders of white people were committed by white people, okay? 15.5% of the murders of white people were committed by black offenders, 514, all right? In reality, rates of white on white and black on black homicides are similar and remain within 10 percentage points of each other, around 80% and 90% respectively. Likewise, rates of black on white and white on black homicide remain within 8 percentage points of each other at around 16 and 18 and 8%.
So again, we have Rashad Ritchie of the Young Turks distorting the numbers by looking at percentages, which doesn't give you the full story. You have to look at the rate at which these things are happening. Black on black crime happens at a way higher rate than white on white crime, especially when we're talking about homicides. And then when you consider the actual numbers, you also need to look at the population. You need to realize that there are 5 times less black people than there are white people. And there are people in the black community that are doing activist work to fight against this crime issue that we have going on in the black community. The problem is that those voices are being drowned out by groups like BLM, which get way more funding and way more attention.
Mentoring addresses the topic some ignore.
You don't see these killings in mass numbers like this in other races. You know, how can we expect someone else to respect us if we don't respect ourselves? So the black on black crime that is plaguing not only Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis, so many cities across the nation, but you have to start at home. You have to take care of home. You know, you have to make sure that our young people respect our race.
I challenge the community today to say, how can we say Black Lives Matter? And, you know, it's a lot of black on black crime in the city.
After 72 people were shot in one weekend in the city of Chicago, that city's mayor is calling for everyone there to work together.
And Jana, that violent weekend is also shining a spotlight on another issue. And it's an issue some don't talk about. Who is killing these black victims? Not whites, not the police, but other blacks.
Look at that smile. He ready for school.
KG Wilson bears a heavy cross, literally.
And this cross is about 400 pounds.
And figuratively.
Sometimes I feel alone. Sometimes I feel alone.
Alone, responding to a silent call for help. KG's past is embedded in Chicago's present. This weekend, 72 people were shot and at least 13 were killed. KG's heart is heavy.
The violence here and the violence in Chicago, back home in Chicago. My mission has been for 15 years now is the focus on us. And when I mean people of color, something that is kept a secret. And many times it's connected to stop snitching.
Snitches get stitches.
Yes. Yes. And the ones that don't get snitched on continue to hurt and kill and terrify and destroy our community.
So just in closing, I want to say that there is a bigger problem going on right now in the black community, and it's completely being ignored. People are lying about the numbers. Some people don't even agree that the numbers are real, which is another problem. And this is going to continue on if we can't address this correctly. Now, another problem with the ones that agree with the numbers is that they tend to quickly pivot to the reasons behind this, and they attribute it mainly to white people as a way of not taking responsibility or agency. Black men are often treated like babies in this country. There are 10 times more poor white people in the United States, and you don't see the same issue that you see amongst the black community. So pivoting to poverty as the cause of the problem doesn't really tell the full story. There's a lot of energy and attention behind defund the police, prison reform, criminal justice reform, and I don't see the same energy behind this black on black crime issue.